Hey everyone, Old School Pokemon here, back again with podcast episode number 13, Lucky 13, joined by my usual co-host, Catch 'em All Collectibles, Dan. And this week we have a special guest, Swammey, joining us. How are we doing tonight, guys?
Excellent.
Good. I just got a lot more serious.
Yeah, so we joined our Zoom call about 2 hours ago, and we've just been shooting the shit for a while, but finally getting started with our official podcast. So it's time to start getting serious here.
Yeah, let me get on my tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like showtime.
Yeah,
So
so
you want
we'll get
Yeah.
right into the questions. As normal. Feel free to leave questions below if you've got any for next podcast. But to get us started, Carly C asked, how do you feel about the Pokemon Playmat Market, such as regionals mats, worlds mats, or staff mats? Do you feel there's a place for it? Is it too niche? Me personally, I buy a lot of playmats. I really like them. I like the surface just for like sorting cards and stuff, and a backdrop for Instagram photos and things like that. So I find myself buying any playmat that I don't have. I'll just buy it. I have a lot of the world's ones, which I really like because it's kind of a unique thing tied to the event. I haven't really gotten into like competitor ones or staff ones, but it is a really interesting thing because I mean, thinking about it, some of those might be quite rare. I mean, they're almost certainly scarce. If you search them on eBay, not too many pop up, especially for some of the early ones. So, as you mentioned, I think it is potentially too niche for its own good. But I do think that there are some out there in the hundreds of dollars. I don't know that there are any in the thousands or ever will be, but it is a really intriguing market. And I guess now that you've asked the question, maybe I'm going to go out there and dig a little deeper this week and maybe pick up some more obscure mats. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a market for them. I think they're really nice, whether it be if you're actually playing the game or just using it for, like, I use them. I use them like what you were saying, to sort cards. I use one as like a mouse pad for my computer. So I really like them. The artwork on them is really good. I do think they are definitely a niche item, but that could also be a good thing where it's a niche item, so you don't have as much competition if you're looking to, either if you're looking to buy them or if you're looking to sell them. So that could be a good thing in itself. But yeah, I do think there's definitely a place within Pokemon for playmats, along with like all everything else has its place. I can't get pins off my mind right now because but even something like that where you think, I was never into pins myself when I did this trade with Rusty, but after doing that trade and listing them on eBay, I found that there's a decent amount of people who are actually after these pins and like collecting them, and I've been doing fairly well, selling them, and that was a whole market I never even knew about. I didn't know there was. It's not a huge demand, but I didn't know there was as much of a demand as there is for the pins, and I would assume that goes along with playmats as well, because like I said, the artwork on them is really cool.
Yeah, it makes me think of, it is super niche, but it makes me think of this shirt. I've actually been looking for this shirt for Pokemon Classics for like 6 months now. And every couple months I'll just like do a, if I don't have anything to do at 1 in the morning on a Saturday and I can't sleep, I'll just start like image searching this shirt, and it's a Super Trainer Showdown qualifier tournament, right? He collects these shirts, and I think it's like the last one he needs. It's the Pokemon Trading Card Game Tour. It's got Neo on it. It's got Pichu, Cyndaquil, Ladybug. I mean, it's a pretty cool shirt, but it's niche like that. And the thing is, like I have been on some crazy clothing websites looking for vintage Pokemon t-shirts. And if I saw it and it was posted for $300 for the amount of time I've put in looking for this dang shirt, I would buy it. Right. But yeah, I think mats are awesome. I only like one mat, and then it goes bad and I'll just buy the next mat, but I'll like put a lot of time into finding the one I want and buy a really cool one. Yeah, everyone wants cool mats. I mean, but it reminds me of these t-shirts, and yeah, there's pockets of that everywhere. The coins, actually, I don't know if I'll be able to get this on, but it's a Lugia coin. Like, I don't know if you could see that on there,
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah, now we can.
yeah. And I think I looked up like if I wanted to sell this a couple years ago, and like this coin went for like $25. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But these are cool. I think there's a lot of cool collectible stuff within Pokemon, and mats. I could definitely picture mats being one of them.
Just wait until someone starts grading them, then they're really gonna take off.
These coins?
No. The coins actually, those can be graded. I actually have graded coins on my eBay right now, but I was saying playmats.
What? Yeah, rolled up play mats. I could picture it now.
Yeah, I have one right here actually. Look.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, and this one is just there's no plastic on it. It's just a straight little piece of metal. It's pretty cool.
Gotta get that in the holder there. Oh,
Yeah, I didn't know you could grade these.
Killing me.
They're graded under the same service level. I sent these out on the 750 special last year. So it's like the same service level as cards. So right
That was
now,
Blastoise.
right now you'd be stuck with $200 per coin.
Are they tough on grading these things?
Coins are tough.
I wouldn't want it to be like a 7. I'd
Yeah.
rather just keep it like this, right?
Coins are tough as far as like these plastic ones. I mean, I crack a lot of theme decks, so I end up with hundreds of the same coin. I send out the top 5 to 10% and I get good 10 rates, but I'm rejecting a lot of coins because like the ink isn't fully covering where it's supposed to be, or there's just a lot of scratches. Like I think they just make these in like huge totes, and just the production line, I can picture that these things are just being dumped, funneled into big, huge buckets.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not just being carefully printed one by one with white hand gloves.
Yeah, I mean, and this one, because it's metal, I've never graded a coin though, so I doubt it would get a 10, even though it looks like really good. But I just wouldn't want it in a 7 or something. But
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Lugia.
Oh yeah.
Before we end off playmats, Nick, actually, we were talking the other day about those modern the Charmander Ultra Pro playmat that came out.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You pay a little over 10 on those from your distributor.
Yeah.
I just had somebody accept an offer on eBay today. I bought 10 of them for $10 a piece, cheaper than I could have gotten them at my distributor. So anybody curious about the modern playmat market? I mean, he's a starter. He's sold out at distribution, and I was still able to get him cheaper than I could have gotten him through distribution because they just don't sell that well, apparently.
But there is going to be I'm looking forward to this one. Have you there's going to be around, I forget when it's coming out, around Halloween. They're coming out with a haunted house Gengar type artwork.
Nice.
They're going to be doing sleeves, binders, playmats, and there's like 2 different artworks, and those ones look really, really good. I can't wait for those.
Yeah.
So hopefully those ones sell for more than $10 a piece.
I slack on the pre-orders for the supplies. I missed out on those. I'm assuming the window's passed, but I'll have to see if I can pick up some more for $10 a piece on eBay.
Yeah. I hope not. Hope they're all like $1 million a piece. So my first question is from Jason B. He asks, he says wild speculation is rampant in the sports card world as Fanatics has acquired the exclusive manufacturing licenses for NBA, MLB, and NFL. Would love to hear you guys. Would love to hear if you guys think there could be some residual effects of this in the non-sport / TCG world, as companies like Topps will have to develop new revenue streams if they are not themselves acquired by Fanatics. So I first heard about this. I think it was you who mentioned this, Swami, in our Discord group, where Fanatics had the licensing agreement or whatever for majority of the sports now, which that I don't follow sports at all, but that really surprised me because I've always known Topps is doing all the sports cards, so that was really surprising to me, and it'll be interesting to see what happens as far as Topps being acquired by them, or if Topps just kind of branching out and doing their own thing. I almost think Topps is too big to be bought almost. But then again, where they're going to be losing all those contracts, I think that's like the vast majority of their business. So I don't know what's going to happen to them as far as that goes. I do wonder though if Topps is going to be doing their MetaZoo thing. I wonder if they've been planning this, kind of like planning to get into the TCG side and kind of partnering with other TCG companies, like they're soon to be released with MetaZoo. I wonder if they've been planning that for a while, knowing that they'd lose the sports side.
They were not aware.
No?
They had no idea, and in fact, I think there's going to be lawsuits, because they weren't even aware that the licensee, I can't remember the name of the company. They weren't even aware that Fanatics was in discussion with them.
Wow.
And they're completely blindsided. At least that's what they're coming out with their PR. But there's a lot of money behind Topps that, like, I don't know specifics. I wish I had time to read more about it today. I just was reading about it last week and they were not aware. Yeah, I don't think they saw it coming, but what I thought was going to happen, I thought Topps was going public last week. Any details that I get wrong, give me that leeway, because I haven't had enough time to really learn everything about it. But I thought Topps was going public last week. Fanatics made the move the week prior, and it looked like Fanatics was going to buy Topps. And it would seem like Topps is too big to be acquired until you see how big Fanatics is, and Fanatics is insanely massive. And like Fanatics is so big, like they might end up taking the sports card market off of eBay entirely and creating their own trading marketplace. Like, that company is so big, the possibilities are so vast. I don't know specifically to your question about TCGs, how much it affects TCGs, other than, yeah, they're partnering with MetaZoo. But Pokemon's their own deal. We are insulated from all this madness, and I kind of like that right now.
the Fanatics deal, isn't that for like 2024?
2025, I think.
2025. Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
little ways out. So it will be interesting. I know nothing about sports really. I'm involved, like I watch a lot of sports, but I know nothing about sports cards.
Yeah, yeah.
Um but yeah, I mean, presumably if Topps doesn't get bought and they have all this printing capacity, I mean, you'll think they'll be utilizing it for the last few years that they have it. Well, what do they do with all that capacity when they're unable to print it? Maybe they'll be knocking on the door of Pokemon, and maybe they'll push to get a revival of the Topps Chrome Pokemon stuff. Who knows? I mean, they are doing this MetaZoo thing. I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball. I don't know if any Topps things exist for those franchises. I'm very Pokemon centric, but yeah, it'll be interesting. As with everything else in this crazy market, it'll just be interesting to see how it all pans out.
Yeah. Yeah, we're a long way away too. So it'll be, it kind of makes sense for MetaZoo to make, clearly they need a lot of product. Because there's a lot of demand for MetaZoo and there's not enough supply. And it's probably a good move. I don't know the details of that either. I know MetaZoo is going to, like, Topps is going to be making cards for MetaZoo. I don't know if Topps got a piece of the action, if they got a contract with MetaZoo for X amount of time. I don't know any of that, but just from a bird's eye view, uh, makes sense. And then even like Flesh and Blood, like they're pretty new. If they need to expand and Topps is there and has the capacity, they could do that.
Mhm.
I still think Topps, if Fanatics holds on to these licenses, I think there's going to be lawsuits. If Fanatics holds on to these licenses, I see Topps is under Fanatics and is making cards for Fanatics. They're since like 70 years of making baseball cards. Like they have the capacity to have the creative team, production, uh, supply chain, manufacturing, knowing, you know, like print runs, scarcity, just everything about it. It would make complete sense for Fanatics to somehow acquire Topps. And Topps would be very acquirable if they don't have any licenses to give them any value.
Yeah.
Kind of a
Exactly.
beautiful move.
Yeah, and there's plenty of time for a deal like that to happen. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. On to the next question. Kai O asks, can you discuss the lack of drop in demand or lack of influx of supply for some of the non-rare, low-end, high-demand items in the hobby? The example that was given was base unlimited starters. For me, I don't really get it either. Um, I I graded a lot of these cards. I still have a lot of these cards out at PSA. If you look at a website like Pokemon Price, and if you look at the pops, they're really still in the uptrend. I mean, some of them kind of like evolutions. I think I commented on your video the other day, Swami. Some of these lines are vertical.
Yeah,
The pop increase,
parabolic.
and yet some of the prices are still. I mean, base unlimited starters are still 100 plus in PSA 10, and in PSA 9 they're 50 to 100. And to me, it just, I don't get it because you can still buy them raw for very, very little. I guess the demand is just massive. The demand is clearly the demand is substantial enough to keep the prices where they're at. They've come back a lot. I mean, Jungle Eevee peaked at near $1,000 and Jungle Pikachu, and I think they're down in the 200 to 250 range. But still, to me, long term, 20 years from now, maybe 20 years from now, that should be $100 to $250 card. But to me today, short term, it should be 50 to 100, and somehow it's maintaining significantly higher than that. So I don't really have a good answer. I don't get it either. Um,
Not
but
enough
I,
yet.
I I'm very comfortable selling them for today's prices, just because I know how many more boxes are out there. I know how many more packs I have. I know how many more raw mint cards I have that I could dig through and submit more. And I know that I'm not alone. So if I sell them at today's prices and then I'm proven wrong and they go up from here, I'll sell them more down the line as I grade more. So that's kind of my thoughts on that, and that's my strategy with it. I'm happy to sell them once I get them for today's going rate. How about you, Nick?
Yeah.
Swammey?
I think it's just because of how iconic they are. I think there's just such a big demand for them, and even though the supply of them, or the sub, I haven't looked into like the pop reports at all. So, but I'd assume the supply of them is increasing in terms of like the pop report numbers. Um, but even though those numbers are increasing, not everyone who grades the cards is listing them on eBay. So you'd have to look at how many more are becoming available on eBay as these pop reports increase. And then outside of like the whole supply aspect, I do think there is just such a massive demand for the starters, because that's what everyone knows. You have people who are getting into Pokemon, who aren't really like serious collectors, but everyone knows about the starters: Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. I'd even include Pikachu in there. So everyone knows about that, and everyone wants those cards, because those are the cards we remember growing up as a kid. Um, so I don't necessarily agree with the price points that we have right now. Um, but then again, um, I don't I don't see them going to that like below $50 mark again any point soon. I can see like the 2 to 3x premium over your normal, just like any other unlimited base set card in a 10, just because of what that specific card is versus those other ones.
Yeah, so I could see Charmander base set unlimited PSA 10 selling for $50. But yeah, I'm looking at it and they're going for 140. A couple buy it nows, people that didn't want to wait for 230. $100. A lot of $100 sales. 150. It's just uh yes, it's too much money for the base set unlimited Charmander. I don't know if I have the pop chart up. I don't know if I could show that. Are you guys good with that?
It looks like this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll share this. I don't know
yeah.
if you can see it, but it's so since October of 2020, the pop is about doubled. So the PSA 10s have 950, the PSA 9s have 970, and they were at 400. And still nobody really graded them because they're everywhere, and everyone owns one, and they're all over the place. Nobody graded, nobody graded, nobody graded, and then uh, Logan Paul's first edition box break, and everybody just starts, okay, let's get these things graded. They're selling for $500. The thing is 947. That just tells me that there's at a pop of 947, there's 947 people that'll pay $150 or not sell it for less than $150. But the pop is on its way to, for the 10 is on its way to 2000, just eyeballing it probably by January of 2022. And PSA's 90, what I say, 97, 98% through October. You still have all of November. A ton of those cards got sent in November. The pop is just going to go, and it'll reach a point where, yeah, the price comes down. Now, I just to say it this way, if if PSA 10 Charmander Unlimited is selling at $150, a lot of people are going to be buying the raw and grading them to sell, to flip, because that's too much money for how easily these cards are able to be found. And I think eventually the pop is going to hit a balance point where it doesn't really make sense to grade it because the prices come down enough. But it's just I see prices coming down, and if they don't, then a lot more will get graded.
We're in such a weird place too, because like the backlog is so significant. There are thousands of that card there. I think I have 50 of that card there myself. And I've got them in for under $10 a slab. So I can sell those for $40 or $50 and make a significant amount of money on what I have into it. But like if say I had another 50 of them, which I probably do if I look close enough, I can't send them today. I can't replicate that because it's $200 a card, right? So we're in this weird place where like temporarily no more are being sent to PSA, but there's a lot of them there. How that's all going to unwind, how the pricing will move ahead, we're in this weird place. But like I am confident if that card is able to hold $100 a card, if I don't necessarily think it will, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, that card's going to have a pop of tens of thousands, because that card specifically, one of my, I love Charmander. I mean, he's my, he's my logo, right? They printed 2 million 2-player starter sets, and there's 4 Charmanders in there. And he's also in Nick's favorite theme deck, right? The one that comes with the 9-tails. There's 4 Charmanders in that theme deck.
Fire, yep.
So this card very well could be the most printed card in the hobby. I mean, a reasonable estimation, there's 8 million in the 2 million 2-player starter decks, and I think there's well over 10 million of these printed, like well over. So and so many of those are still sealed. There's still so many light base unlimited packs. There's still so many base unlimited boxes. So many of those decks. Nick's probably got 8 cases of those decks lying around.
just thrown across the floor.
So yeah, those cards are in a weird place for me. I
don't know though, with PSA 10 unlimited base set cards, where do you think those will end up? Like just your normal like Onyx Pidgey. I can see those staying around like $25-$30 a card. Yeah. And then for the starters, I can see those staying $75-$100 a card.
They probably
people are willing to pay $100 for a Battle Styles booster box. I would so much rather a PSA 10 Charmander.
They probably will, because longer term, like our grading fee will probably never return to sub 10. Our long-term grading fee might be $25 a card or something. And I think we'll get to a point where 9s are break even or lose some money. And you're not guaranteed to get 10s when you send them in, right? I mean, when we looked at the pop, there were about as many PSA 10s as PSA 9s. So long-term, if you've got to pay $25 to grade it and it only sells for 30 in a 9 and a 10's like 80, that's the kind of thing that I would probably submit some amount of them in every submission. But like, it's not a very attractive thing to most people. So it'll kind of be to where like there's millions of them out there, but there's only a handful of people grading them. So like the pop's just not shooting up so much. Kind of like where we were 5 years ago. When you saw early in the chart that Swami shared, the pops were just slowly moving up, because again, I was grading those cards 5 years ago. A 50-cent card, grade it for $7, sell it for 30 or 40 in PSA 10 and 15 or 20 in PSA 9. I mean, it's not an amazing business, but it's decent business, and there was margin there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I wish I was grading them back then.
And you know, I know it's Charizard versus Charmander, but the Charizard Hollow I think has over 9,000 PSA 9s, and it's selling for the same dollar amounts as this base unlimited Charmander. It's just, I think, yeah, demand is definitely there. I think those three, the middles, no one cares about, but the starters and the totally evolved, the demand is there. But I do see them coming down, below $100. I could picture that. But again, it's this weird spot, and it's also a weird spot with modern, right? Because there's people grading modern, I think are the crazies, right? Because they're the ones that are paying the money to get those first, where people pay super high dollar amounts when things first come out because they just can't wait. And I was just thinking to myself when Ketchum was talking, like, what the way I think about it is not how most people think about it, right? Like when I'm thinking about that Charmander, I was literally picturing like, oh yeah, I could probably buy that thing for $50 in 4 years. And that is not how somebody thinks, because if they want it, they want it. I have Charmanders, not graded. And you know, I'll be fine. If I really wanted it in a 10, I'd be like, yeah, I'd wait 4 years for PSA to get the backlog. Like, even if the prices don't come down with this first run up to 2000 PSA 10 Charmanders, the Evo 9 Charizard has 9,000. It's selling for 150. It could take years. I know it will get there though, because if there's that much money behind unlimited Charmander and for how easy they are to get, people will grade that all day long once they can. But then you got to wait for PSA. And so, yeah, gosh, if I really wanted that card right now, I would just buy raw. Buy a nice raw copy, enjoy it. That's how I'd do it.
Yeah, buy a sealed deck. You're gonna get 4 of them. I've opened a lot of those decks. For the price of like 2 PSA 10s, you're gonna get a sealed deck with a Machamp, with 2 Charmeleons, 4 Charmanders. Who knows? Maybe you'll get a Shadowless. Maybe you'll get a Diglett Error one. Maybe you'll get something nice in that respects. But yeah, to buy, I don't know who's buying them right now. I don't know where they think the price is headed, but I mean, I'm going to be selling a lot of them over the next couple of years, and I would just say wait on them. And that's as a seller of them.
And that's tough too, because we're willing, like I sold my copies, my graded copies, and I don't want it, right? But sometimes it's tough for me to remember like what it feels like to really want it right now. I mean,
and like, yeah, when you look at it from that side, like say you're a collector who just loves Charmander, you just want that PSA 10 at your side on your desk or on your mantle, wherever you're going to put it. For $100, if you can scoop one in an auction, to get it now, to enjoy it for the next 5 years before we might go, like that's a reasonable price to pay if you're really going to enjoy it. Just, I hope that the people buying them are those type of people and not people buying them thinking, hey, 6 months ago, a year ago, this card was like $500. I think I sold a couple around $500. We're headed back there. We're going to the moon. It's going to be worth $1,000. This is part of my retirement plan. I hope that people aren't buying it like that. Because at the end of the day, like, I mean, you can have a night out that costs you $100, and if you get that comes and goes and it's gone. And if you get a card that you enjoy every day and you like to see, and so from some perspectives, like I think it's a bad buy, but if it's truly just in a collector's sense and it brings you that joy and you value it that much, then go for it.
Yeah. And you can. I mean, you go to the movies, it's like $100. The movie theater. So.
Well, my next question is from Andrew M, asking, what Pokemon products would you never have bought if the 2020-2021 bubble/boom had never taken place? Unicorns or something that never just happened to go well for you, given the circumstances. What would I have never bought if the 2020 bubble had never taken place? I would say I wouldn't have gotten into Modern as much as I have recently. With the way Modern's been going, I've been buying a lot more Modern product from my distributor, just to kind of increase those allocations so that I can get more, so that way I can sell more. So yeah, if 2020 2021 never happened, I probably wouldn't be buying nearly as much Modern product as what I have been. What would you guys say to that one?
I'm gonna let Swami go here because I think he's
he's getting ready to show something
nice out.
I would never have bought this. Like this box.
No idea what that is.
This is exactly. This box is it's Dragon Ball Z. What year is this? It's super old. It's the Hero Collection, which isn't a crazy tough collection to find or get, but there are cards in here that are Prism. It's a whole deal, right? I mean, I could show you a lot of stuff I would have never have bought. Like, here's a booster box of Attack on Titan. Like, I would not have bought this, right? But I made a lot of money with Pokemon, so I just had some fun. And like this box, it never in a million years would I have paid. I mean, it comes with like a poster and everything. It's just, yeah, I just would not have bought. I would not have branched out because I didn't buy any Pokemon, because I thought it was all a little overpriced. And so I branched out, and yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, I guess I probably wouldn't have bought the MetaZoo Kickstarter boxes that I bought. And I mean, I'm glad I bought those because I timed them well. But a little bit of what Swami said, like I made a decent bit of money, and maybe I'm branching out more because I'm not finding quite as much value. But part of it is also a bit of a dangerous thing. Sometimes I feel like I'm playing with house money a bit, and I'm a bit more risky with certain things. And when I bought MetaZoo, it felt like a pretty risky play, but I thought it was going to go up. The way that I timed it, the way that I timed it was buying the Kickstarter boxes before the first edition came out, and then the demand has just been crazy on that since the launch, so it's done well. But having opened some first edition boxes of it, I really enjoyed it actually. I kind of like the part of the reason that I bought it too is I like the idea of the cryptids and all that, and it's just intriguing to me. Pokemon's been out 25 years, and there's certain things we don't like from back in the day, right? Like there's certain, I kind of wish packs weren't weighable, and MetaZoo fixed that. And there's certain authenticity problems on boxes and things of that nature. MetaZoo's kind of trying to fix some of that. So it's interesting to, I'm kind of using this time and this money that I've made to branch out into other TCGs as well. So far, only MetaZoo, but in the coming months, I do plan to dip my toes into other things too. So yeah, I guess the Pokemon boom part of it, I wonder when I would have quit my job, if I would have quit my job had the boom not happened. I very likely would still be a chemical engineer day to day. So I wouldn't have bought this fancy new mic for my fancy new YouTube.
you went to start a YouTube channel.
Yeah, my
Oh,
fancy
man,
new
you guys-
office. So I guess if we go that way, like I bought a ton of stuff I wouldn't have bought because I quit my job and had to go full. Yeah.
Yeah, and it allowed me to have a lot of fun in even cheap stuff. Just to have fun, and I had a lot more fun than I ever would have taken a risk on, right? It was mostly Pokemon for me, and I always dabbled here or there, but the amount of dabbling I was able to do last year just for the enjoyment and exploration, and like that box that box, the hero collection of Dragon Ball, is not going to mean anything to anybody. That specific box is a reprint of the Bandai or Cardos box, but Amada actually made these prism cards that they put into the set that are very highly sought after for people that collect Dragon Ball Cardos, and just to learn about all of that and like, oh wow, there's a lot of chase here. Where do I find this card? It's in this box. It's just, I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot about a lot of different things, and I didn't buy very many Pokemon cards.
So our next question comes from Shiny Lightbulb 1000. I'm a small-time seller and still learning the ropes. I've started building up my listings and pricing at the lowest buy now price. Do you all pay attention to the number of watchers, views, amount of time listed, or something else? Do you focus on number of listings? I know all this depends on what you're selling. They're selling raw WotC cards at the moment, building up their collection. Any advice on number of listings or when to adjust prices would be greatly appreciated. So a video that I actually filmed today and will go out next week, and I think you've done one on this too, is like the offer feature, send an offer to buyers.
I don't know if I've ever done a video, but I've talked about that before. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So like say you have a lot of kind of stale inventory, old inventory that's really not moving for you. eBay has a feature where you can send an offer out. I think it goes out to everybody who's watching, and I think it will also go out to everyone who's sent a message on it. I guess kind of sneak peek at my video for next week, but I made a 10-minute video on it. By the time that my video was done filming, I think I had sold like 10 things in 10 minutes. And right now it's like 8 hours or so later, and I sold like 30 items of the 500 I had listed. So I guess that's a way to kind of like stimulate sales. I think you have to have a store to have that feature, but it's a really cool feature. As far as the other stuff, watchers, viewers, amount of time, like I have a lot of listings and I don't pay attention to any of that. Something, I forget if it was while we were recording or if it was just before or after when we were talking with Sakari, Nick. Remember when he was talking about like the sell through rate and all these different...
I actually found where that was on your eBay page.
Sakari was like really in-depth metrics, and I didn't even know that was existing somewhere. I did end up finding it after he said something about it, and my sell-through numbers are really low.
What was yours? Mine was like 7%.
I think mine was like 3 to 5% or something. And I think Sakari's was like, it was over 50%, wasn't it? It was high.
Oh, I think it was like 25% or something like that.
Oh, was it that? Okay. I remember it was substantially higher than mine, maybe 10 times as high. So I'm probably bad to answer this question as far as like if you want to really be on the ball of everything. But yeah, that those are things I don't really pay attention to. I'm in a place where I just have so much inventory. So with a 3% sell through rate, I'm able to sell a lot of stuff still. Yeah, I guess that's everything for me on that question.
I kind of miss the days of I don't do any of that stuff now. Paying attention to watchers, views, offers, stuff like that. I do kind of miss the days where I only had a couple listings, like 10, 20 listings was really good for me. This is going way back, but I miss the days where that was good, and you were able to kind of keep track of all your listings and check them every day and say, oh, we gained 2 watchers on this listing. This listing got 10 new views, and kind of like tweaking the listings to kind of gain more exposure. I do think that's important in the beginning, because you do learn a lot from that, how to like tweak your item title to get more exposure and all that stuff. But nowadays I don't pay attention to views or watchers or anything like that. For me, it's just the sales. I basically just list items. When I list them, I'll so if something when I list something on eBay, I price it at basically the lowest buy it now price or right around there. And then once it's listed, it stays listed until it sells, or I decide to go back and edit the price a little bit, which normally doesn't happen very often. Um, but yeah, that's that. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. In terms of the number of listings, that's a big one right there. I don't know. I don't know how true it is, but I've always believed that the number or your activity with listings on eBay is the most important metric in terms of the eBay algorithm promoting your listings across eBay. So if you can list items every day on eBay, I believe you're going to have more sales on eBay than if you go a period without listing at all. I've always felt that, and I know a lot of people who also feel that way. But I don't think there's any like factual information that we can get about that. And then one other thing that I thought of while I was talking about that was just another tip if you don't already know about it, going along the lines of selling on eBay. Um, if you have an eBay store and you're listing buy it now listings, I forget where you find it, but there's a feature called out of stock, which is basically if you if you have a bunch of one item, like I have a ton of their Team Rocket storage boxes. I have like an endless supply of those. So what I do is I list them in quantities of 5. So I have a buy it now listing quantity of 5. As that one starts to sell out, the eBay listing changes and it tells buyers, "Hey, I'm almost sold out of this. I only have 50% remaining." So it kind of gives buyers urgency to purchase that item from me. And then once that last box does sell out, instead of my eBay listing completely ending, it just goes to a 0 and basically gets removed from eBay, removed from my active eBay inventory. But on my end, I still have that listing as being active. So I can just go back in, edit the quantity of that listing, and it pops back up on eBay with the same number of views, same number of watchers, as well as however many I've sold in the past. So that it's kind of like a snowball effect where you can quickly generate new sales by using that feature.
It helps maintain your search rank. I use
Yeah,
that too.
exactly.
That's a really, really good tip to throw in there.
Yeah, all I do is send out offers if there's a item that isn't moving, and I'll usually just make like a mental note, like, okay, it's been a while, and then I'll give it 2 weekends, and then I'll send an offer out on the Friday night of the 3rd weekend, and usually I have pretty good luck with that. Um, yeah, that's about it, really.
A funny thing I just thought of, Nick, I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, but I get alerts occasionally on some of my listings. It will say like, this item hasn't had any sales in 18 months. Have you ever gotten that?
Yep.
So that's what my strategy is. That's what my sell-through rate is. So occasionally when I see that banner pop up on an item, I'll be like, okay, let's throw out offers for 50% off on that or something like that. But yeah, I feel like the high end stuff that I want to move, I'll more dynamically price it. Like I might pop back in, oh, what's the lowest listed on eBay? Let me drop 10% so that I maintain the lowest price on eBay. But like the slew of cards that get just lost in the middle, I'll have some sit for a year or two. Most of most of those sold last year. So that was 2020 was like a purge. I got down to where I had less than 100 listings, but I anticipate that over the next couple of years, I'll get back to where like some cards just get forgotten. I probably like an unlimited Charmander. I'll have one listed as a 10 for $150. the price will dip to 80. eBay will throw me that thing saying, hey, you've had this one listed for a year and a half, get rid of it. And then I'll just pop it down to 75 and sell it.
Well, you already have an Evo box on there like that, Mr. Like
Oh.
1900.
Yeah.
1900. Oh my God. Wow.
I think I put that one up because I'm just like, I don't think these can keep running. But if they do, so like I just want one out there. I probably should revise that price though. It's probably about time.
might be the highest listed Evo box on eBay.
What are they
Oh,
down
God.
to? 700?
Yeah, I think they're around 700.
Pretty soon people are going to be mistaking my price for a case price of it, and it'll probably sell accidentally.
Yeah, exactly. Was there anything else in that question, or was that it? Yeah, I think we answered that question pretty good.
Yeah, we covered it.
So my next question is from Ernesto A, asking, feels like I've been seeing a lot more slabs on eBay. Pretty much any common card I search for, I'm able to find the PSA 10 or PSA 9. Are you guys seeing the same? Is the backlog slowly clearing? Would it be better to wait a bit before buying something more high-end, like a Shadowless Charizard, since I'm seeing a lot more cards hit the market? So I would agree with you. There are more cards coming onto the market for sure. More cards getting graded, more cards selling. I would definitely agree with you there. I think the backlog is slowly clearing, but we have a long ways to go before it finally clears out. I think we're just getting into the start of the bulk submissions that were going on late last year. And as far as like your like high-end purchases, like with your Shadowless Charizard, depending on the grade, like if you're talking like a low grade Shadowless Charizard, like PSA 1 through, I would say PSA 1 through 6, you might be better off waiting, because there are probably a decent bit of those in the backlog right now. But if you're talking a high grade Charizard, like 7 to 10, I honestly don't think there's many like really high end, high grade cards in the backlog. There are going to be a few, but those types of cards were worth grading for a long time. Whereas I think the majority of the backlog is stuff that really wasn't worth grading for the longest time, or it wasn't worth grading for the majority of people. I don't get to worry about the backlog being full of PSA 9, PSA 10 Charizards or anything like that. I think it's mainly going to be modern cards, low end WotC cards, and everything in between.
Yeah, I'll answer very similarly. So at the start of the question, you asked kind of more about the common cards. I think it's worth waiting on the unlimited Charmanders, but pivoting to the Shadowless Charizards, if you have one in PSA 8 to PSA 10 condition, you're already looking at the tier of $200 a card. So you could send them now. I mean, if you have those cards, you would have sent them, you'd have them back. So those cards really aren't in the backlog unless some people really got crazy at the tail end of last year and sent them out under bulk. But for the most part, those cards aren't really in the backlog. And I think like I sold my PSA 9 Shadowless Hollow set at the peak last year. I've been keeping kind of a close eye on it because Shadowless is a set that I might want to reacquire. Probably not in PSA 9 again, potentially more in something like CGC 8 to 9, 9.5 maybe if I can get good deals. So I think Shadowless, for the most part, mint Shadowless Hollows have kind of bottomed and then are back on the upswing. So if you're looking for more premium cards like that, now or soon or fairly recently might have been the time to buy them. But super common stuff, wait.
Yeah. So they all look really well, really good. I mean, I'm not looking at nines. And nines, actually, the pricing looks really good when you combine it with the population increase. It's not that vertical line, right? Like I brought up Charmander's line before this. They're definitely increasing. Fives, sixes, sevens. They're definitely going up. You know, PSA 8 and about a year ago was 600. It's sitting at 860 now. PSA 6 was sitting at 475. It's sitting at 684. And when you look at the price chart, they now it might look like it's flatlined, even though that might be like $1,000 dip. But a lot of sales are really kind of, yeah, flatlining, showing a little bit signs of strength actually for the 6, 7, and 8. Shadowless Charizard is what I'm talking about. I just like the prices. I think though, if you are thinking about a $500, you know, what the 8s are going for, 7s are going for like 1,600. Yeah, 1,400, and the 8s. There was a $1,686 sale, and that same day there was a $2,750 sale. Could have been best offer accepted, but anyway, when you're getting up to that kind of dollar amount, you know, just stay on top of it. Stay on top of there's not that many sales each day. There's maybe 15 sales in a month. Yeah, 15 to 30 sales in a month. And you can kind of track which card you're really trying to look at, and just monitor prices and see as these pops come out, are they dipping? And it is getting close. I'm going to be bad at that. There's going to be the market's going to bottom before I get back in for my own personal collection, and it will be on the come up, probably, is what I'm guessing, by the time I decide to buy. But I have a lot less stress when I feel comfortable, right? And I don't like buying cards. I'm not used to buying cards thinking they're going to go down. You know, like you could set your target on a card and the price would be the same for like 6 or 7 months. And by the time you were ready to buy it and you had the cash, you weren't even thinking about the price of the card. Like you were just working your way up to that price. And when you bought it, you were just excited to get it. You weren't thinking, by the time I get this, is the price going to drop by 10% or something? It's going to be a different hobby. Patience and patience is key. But yeah, I mean, the pops aren't exploding and the prices look fairly stable. If you're okay with them coming down, let's say you bought a card for 1,400. If it's a shadowless 7, if it came down to 1,000 and you could hold it through that and you're okay with that, I think it would go back up to 1,400 one day. That's how I feel about it. It's very tough to answer a question like this because there is a lot of things involved, but that's just how I kind of look at things.
Yeah, so I think that covers that question. Next question comes from Jason of J&J's. What Pokemon TCG item do you own that you are super bullish on that will do well long term? And one item that you own, regardless of value, you'd never sell. So I'll start with the items that I'll never sell. I've got my childhood binder. It's just complete base Jungle Fossil Unlimited. Average condition is probably PSA 6 or something. I'll never grade them. I'll never sell them because they're well loved. I can still crack open that binder, pull out the cards, handle them like I did 22 years ago now. So the market's never going to value those more than I do. I think I've mentioned before that like I don't intend to die with a lot of my collection, but I will die owning that binder for sure. And then an item that I own that I'm super bullish on long term. I think I own quite a bit of things I'm pretty bullish on. Most of them are not listed on my eBay or for sale anywhere. It's tough because a lot of those have done really well in the past 6 months to a year. So like the first thing that I'd think of are my full art Pikachu trophies. It's just hard to say that because they've shot up so much in the past year. I don't think they're going to perform like they have in that time period, but I'm still confident that they'll do pretty well over the long term. So just basically older, rare, minter, better, right? those not so much on the older. Those are from 2014 to 2019, but they hit the mint and the rare for sure when there's only 6 copies of something in the world. But I do have some Japanese promos, early stuff, promo / trophies. And I think that's where I've always been confident. Kind of like a lot of my business is just kind of flipping up into those kind of items that I hold.
For me, the regardless of value one, definitely my no damage Ninetales collection. I'm like you, Dan. I don't plan on ever dying with everything, but I will definitely sell everything I have before I sell those. Those would be the last cards I ever sell. But in terms of super bullish,
You better still own a few of them when you die. Don't sell them all.
maybe I'll give some to my sister. Pass them on to her, and she can sell them. Right now, there's really not much that I'm buying to hold for like the long term right now. Back in the past, though, it's always been shadowless cards, shadowless non-hollows specifically. I was buying those for a long time. I'd basically every month or every 2 months or so, I would hop on a Troll and Toad, and basically any shadowless rare that was priced under $10, I would buy. I would do the same thing with eBay, and those actually have been doing well for me. I've started to sell like the near mint and below copies that I had, and did well with those. But I still have all the mint stuff, and hopefully at one point I'll be able to send some of that off to PSA to get graded. But that was probably the thing that was probably the one thing that I was super bullish on for a long time is shadowless non-hollows.
Yeah, so there's a card. I don't know if you guys saw that video, the Find the Love of Your Life video, that goofy one I did, but
Oh yeah,
the Pokemon fan club in the background. That card,
I do remember that. Yeah.
yeah. So that card I will never sell, not because for the condition of the card, the market will never price it above where I value it at, right? Just like what Ketchum was saying. I just know I'll never sell that card because the condition, I'm not gonna be like giving it away, and I value it too much. I mean, even if it was going for a couple $100, I was like, no, I'm not. I just want to keep it. And then there are cards that it's funny because the cards that you love even more sometimes, like I just got back a graded staff Machamp, and it's the shiny Machamp, and I've owned that card raw for years, and I value it more than what the market would. It's something that I'm bullish on. I like all those limited cards is pretty much what I'm bullish on across the hobby, I guess we could say. Whether it's condition rarity or absolute rarity. But like that card, I probably will sell one day. It's just not anywhere close to now because I'm bullish on it and there is a price point for it that I think will actually be met, and it'll be like, okay, yeah, it's time to go. I enjoyed you. But what I could do with what I'm, you know what I mean? It's just, it'll hit that price point. And then the cards that I'll never sell are pretty much the cards that the market won't care as much as me about. So
It is tough. Like I said, with the stuff that I'm super bullish on that I think will do well long term. I mean, for me, my binder, there's no price on it. No one's gonna pay any price that would motivate me. But there have been over the past year, I've sold some stuff that I didn't think I'd sell for 5, 10, 20 years because the market really started valuing things heavily. And I've been back and forth. I think over the next, I have had my Pikachus listed on eBay, and I do think at some point they'll return there because there's a lot of money out there in the hobby right now. And if the right price were to come along, I mean, I think that I could be I know, I mean, I definitely could be separated from them. I really don't want to be, and that's kind of why I've hesitated listing them. But it's also like now that I'm doing this full time in my business, my livelihood depends on it more. Some more items like that I'm gonna have to throw out there with a high ask or best offer, and maybe Logan Paul or Steve Aoki will wanna grab them or something.
yeah, I mean, that staff Machamp, it is a pretty rare staff card. Just and we could talk about rarity. I'm just saying you don't come across them a lot, right? If someone happened to watch that video and offer me some astronomical amount above where it probably would go for if I'd have put it up on auction. Maybe. But it's yeah, there's a price point for most things. If someone saw the video that I made of that card I said I would never sell, and they offered me some dumb amount, even though I know that they're available on eBay pretty regularly. Yeah. There's a dollar amount for most things.
Oh, I completely agree with that.
If you get silly about it, I mean, if somebody comes and says they'll pay me $1 million for my childhood binder, screw my memories. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's a silly
and I'm not
thing.
even talking like that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
talking if I think a card is 1,000, but I don't want to sell it because I think I'd rather hold on and see what happens, and someone offers me 5, I probably would sell it. For 5, I could put in the work to go out there, find another staff, and try and get that same grade. And if it graded an 8 instead of a 9, but I'm still netted 4,000, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
Sure. Something like that.
Well, my next question is okay. So Davis asks, if you were willing to wait and don't want to purchase graded cards, what are your processes on purchasing and grading expensive raw single cards? This example, for this example, no collections, just one card. For example, Shining Gyarados. eBay, you can see the pictures the seller provides. TCG Player and Troll and Toad don't have pictures, but Troll and Toad has a good return policy. Well, speaking of Shining Gyarados, I would not recommend opening packs. No, I would probably go the eBay route, where you can see front and back pictures of the specific card before you actually go ahead and purchase it. To be more specific, I would say even like smaller eBay sellers or people who don't have too many items listed on eBay. And I say that because if you came to me and said, "Hey, can I get 10 more pictures of this Shining Gyarados?" I would say, "I'm sorry, I have a front and back picture. That's all you're getting." And that's just because I have so many people coming to me every day asking for those pictures that instead of acknowledging some people and ignoring other people, I just politely ignore everyone to make it fair. So where with a with a smaller eBay seller, they might be willing to give you the time where they're not selling so much every day, so you could get those additional pictures from them and kind of be able to have a good idea on what you're getting before you actually purchase it and get it. Whereas even though Troll and Toad has a good return policy, that's still a lot of extra work on your part, having to buy the card, receive the card, mail it back to them, get a refund, then find another copy to buy. So I would say eBay, maybe even Facebook would be your best bet.
Yeah,
I know you agree with me with the pictures there, Dan.
absolutely. Now that I'm full time though, I have occasionally sent a couple extra pictures and it has turned into sales.
Wow,
I don't
really?
entertain if it feels like they're genuinely just looking to ensure that it's gonna meet their conditions. But you can kind of tell when it's somebody fishing on a 9 looking to regrade it as a 10, or if it's somebody like messaging on a 10 just making sure it's not a really weak 10 or something. So yeah, I've had luck recently a little bit. So I kind of changed my ways now that I'm full time. I've increased my customer service a little bit. But so I guess part of my answer to this question, like if you're extremely married to a certain grade, if you need to have the PSA 10 or the PSA 9, I would advise people buy cards that they like and not be so stuck on it needs to be this grade from this company. Because years ago I was like a straight PSA 9 collector. I think I was too laser focused on that one grade and I might have missed opportunities to get a 10 at not too much more of a premium or get an 8 for significantly less that was clean enough at essentially being a 9. So but if you're, I mean, I know a lot of people in this hobby are like that. They need to have that 9, need to have that 10. If you're really firm on what the grade needs to be, buying graded will just save you so much time many times that it's worth the premium. But if you're willing to put in the time and you just want to get a quality card, whatever grade it ends up, yeah, Troll and Toad is tough because for modern sets, I mean, Nick bought a bunch too. I bought a bunch of amazing rares. When you're buying like modern sets, Troll and Toad near mint will oftentimes be pack fresh mint. They do send them not in sleeves though, so they get handled a little bit. But TCG player Troll and Toad, older cards, generally speaking, the people who sent them in looked them over, pulled out the ones worth grading, and then sent off the rest of the true near mint cards to sell that way. So yeah, eBay, look for eBay with good pictures, or just look for the actual graded cards. And if you're really stuck with PSA, but you're planning on being here for the long term, don't be afraid to look for CGC. I mean, I've been picking up a lot of auctions of CGC 8s, 8.5s that I'm quite confident are as strong as my PSA 9s. So that's always an option too.
Yeah, eBay. Like if you're talking, Neo Shinings and stuff, eBay all day, and even listings, especially listings with bad photos, ask them for more photos because those are sometimes the best listings. They just shrug them off, and asking for photos it can be surprising sometimes. I mean, I remember I was looking at a collection binder that ended up going for $800 and it was worth thousands more. But the person listing it, I asked for more photos and they're like, "Oh yeah, and there's more in the back." And Legendary Collection, Venusaur, Unlimited, Lugia, like all these cards, like all the best cards weren't even in the listing. And it just was like, yes, thank you very much. I'll take that. And, but, yeah, ask for photos. And then sometimes the mintiest ones are, a lot of great photos on there, and it's very competitive. And I've watched some go for too much. And usually dollar amounts on, especially on auctions, will give you an idea of all the people that have looked that card over and they say, yeah, this is a pretty mint card right here. Sometimes those are the most dangerous ones because other people are all like, it just gets pushed up too much. So yeah, look at what you're trying to do. If you're trying to do value, try and get a, a number in your head. And if that's new to you, looking at recent sales and dissecting the recent sales and the photos in those sales, even just really just looking into a card, because you're kind of hyper focusing on a $500 card, basically, is what I'm hearing. If you're talking Shining Gyarados, even in raw, I think. So yeah, just put in some time and effort, and just watch out for that first one that you're like, oh yeah, this is the minty one that I've been looking for. It's like, well, more will probably pop up. Like, don't go crazy, because those are always the most dangerous. And sometimes you get away with the steal, but sometimes it can just go too high. But that's about all I got. eBay.
That's like, do you guys remember those? I forget when this was, but when Goodwill or one of those like donation companies was running
Yeah.
a bunch of eBay auctions, and they would seem to like constantly have first edition base hollows that they would list as auctions, and usually they would always go for like the PSA 9 price or maybe even slightly higher. That to me was insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gave up on it was Goodwill auctions. So
Was that it?
Goodwill auctions has their own website and everything, and they'll list Pokemon. And I checked it out about a year ago, and it looked like they had gotten a lot more strict. But like, oh well, yes, we can actually make money on this. But some of those Goodwill auctions were so cheap. There were so many like good deals on there like 3 or 4 years ago. And then I got sent one that went for like $150, and which at the time, like, you didn't scoff at $150. And they just dumped all these cards in a box and shipped it out, and everything was damaged. I was like, never again. Never.
Oh god.
I think we're down to our last question for the night.
Final question.
And it's actually Peak Dat Chew asked about his 2004 top 16s world card. I think he asked about it last podcast and was a little bummed with the state of my microphone. So I figured
I was wondering why this question sounded familiar.
Yeah, so if you guys have any idea, he's looking for value on a 2004 top 16s world card. It's a tough one. There's not many out there, not many graded. You're the owner. You can set the price. If you can find a buyer to pay it, then that's what it's worth. So I figured we could also use this question just more generally. How do you value and list a low pop card that has no comp that you're looking to sell? So I've done this multiple times. Sometimes I've been the first one to market. I remember when Evolutions came out, I had one of the earliest full art Mega Charizards, and it's like, this is a new set, hype. It was low pop, but it was headed to be high pop. But still, I mean, kind of the same thing applies. You're the first to market, low pop, no comps. Look for similar cards. With a card like that, it's fairly tough, but look at the years around it. See if you can find a similar sale. Check what the pops of those are. 04 would earn some amount of a premium, presumably, over the years beyond it. 04 was the first the first official year, right? So it's kind of tough, but look for the closest analog you can find and use that to gauge the price a bit. And maybe, I mean, you've got a top 16, maybe you can find a top 32, maybe you can find a champion, semifinalist, something like that, and just kind of figure out a ratio. Look for a later year and how the ratios compare. But at the end of the day, it's your card. You're the owner of it. You set a price, buy it now or best offer above where you think it's worth, and see what comes in. I mean, the best way to sell a card like that is not needing to sell it, being able to be patient. That's the kind of card that not a ton of people are out there looking for, but the people that are generally know what it is, know what I mean, it's worth a decent amount to them if you find the right buyer. So patience will help with a card like that.
Yeah, I would pretty much echo what you said there. You probably on something like that where it is more, I'd say not it's like not in a it's not a super demand card. It's not in super demand. So you're not going to have a ton of people wanting that card, but you are going to have a few high end buyers that are looking for that card. So I would avoid the whole auction format on something like that, because with auctions you want to have that interest, you want to have that buyer pool available, and with something like this, I think you're only going to have a few buyers that are interested. So definitely avoid the auction if you're able to, if you're not in a rush to sell, and just price it high and accept best offers. You can always lower the price. You can't really raise the price if it sells too cheap.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I echo all those things. Depending on how attached you are to the card, price it even higher if you're super attached, right? And if there's a number in your head that if it sold for anywhere near that, you would feel terrible, then price it as far away from that as you can. But this card, I'm looking at PSA. There's not a sale for the finalist, semifinalist, quarterfinalist, top 16, not even the staff. There was a German and a Portuguese. Those sold for less than $30 in 2019. I would look at other years. Look at other years and look at population reports. Other years will have similar pops, and people, there's such a small population that people are going after. The people that are going after those cards might have a position in other years, or the people going after that card that you have are also looking at those other years and trying to price it themselves. Because I look at it and I go, if I want to buy one, I have no idea how to do it just looking at 2004, because there's no sales, not even in comparables. So I would go to other years, and you can also try to join groups where there might be buyers present, and you can just kind of shoot out some flyers. I get sent some stuff. I've made it vocal that I'm looking for certain cards, and I get sent offers with, "Hey, I heard you're looking for this," and that works out great. Yeah, if you can get in groups, that might help too.
Yeah, so I think that wraps it up for the question portion. Do any of you have any pressing topics you want to chat about, or any hot news to cover?
The PSA cases. That was probably the biggest thing that I thought of.
Oh yes, I'm gonna pull these up because these are just priceless.
Because we need to see them to talk about them. I'm very hopeful that CGC never changes their cases. I'm a person who, when I buy a PSA 9 or PSA whatever it is, I'm buying the card, not the grade, not the slab. I don't really care that much, honestly. but I definitely don't like the idea of an inner sleeve because it's just another layer between you and the card. And a lot of times you see what the labels do years old, and I'm worried what that sleeve might do 10 years down the line, how ugly it might look. And PSA is just, again, it for what's in my collection, it doesn't drive me so crazy as far as having the lighthouse labels and the old school labels, whatever. But you're gonna have some amount of your buyer pool that never wants the inner sleeve. So like if I start getting these back in my returns, I'm gonna have a more limited buyer pool. But yeah, look at how crooked that Pidgeot is.
The
Yeah, that looks
Pidgeot
awful.
is crooked.
Look at the
I also
spades.
I don't really like the glare that you're getting from the penny sleeve.
It,
This space right here.
that must be a taller slab, right?
Yeah.
No, I think the corner or the edges are just thinner.
If it's a taller slab, then that's even worse because then it won't even stack. And
I
then
don't think they could change the size.
If
I think
they-
that'd be terrible.
if they
I
change
don't
the
think
size,
they
that would be
did. I heard they didn't
crazy.
change the size,
Because
Okay.
if you
but I don't know how. Is it this offset right here? And
you
then
know how
it
there used to be
normally would
like a like a it was like a frosted border around the whole edge.
I've
Yeah,
got one
yeah,
right
that's
here.
got to be it.
Yeah, they just got rid of that and
So they got rid of that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
They brought that into the card.
Yeah, yep.
Well, then they need to center the card. They still need to center the card because yeah, okay, you get rid of the frost, but oh man,
You, I know, like, I know if I sold that Pidgeot card, I'd get a return opened, item not as described, because in my picture, like I would shake it so that in the picture it was straight and centered. And then
yeah.
you'll be getting item not as described because the card will rotate 3 degrees and shift up or down, and people will just not like it.
Well, that was one of the things I was wondering. Like, is the card like can you shake that Pidgeot and rotate it, or is it pretty much stuck in that position now?
Oh
BGS card.
Same
man,
thing with like the Raichu. Can you shake that up and down, or is it pretty much stuck there?
I
Because
don't like
that
it,
whole
man.
blank space is awful. That
I
looks
think
Yeah.
I think you'd be
terrible.
able to shake it and move it.
They should have. I think what they were trying to do was get rid of that frost, right? But then they moved the offset. They should have kept the offset if they wanted a clear, like a clear see-through. Kept the offset so it'd be centered, because yeah, it looks like you can shake it. And they
It
probably
does.
didn't keep the offset because of the penny sleeve.
This is what a slab should look like.
Yeah. No, I really like the CGC cases. I can't believe. I mean, this looks bad. I don't know. I am not a fan of these new PSA slabs. But
That was like
what they
terrible.
were saying was,
Yeah, I guess they thinned it on the bottom too.
it just looks good. Like you could see my face right now.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow. You can see through. I mean, it's these are great looking. But what they were saying was that because they came out with an announcement, I'll just read the announcement. So this was like 3 months ago, and PSA will soon begin placing all submissions at the regular service level and above in resealable plastic card sleeves to protect PSA holders from scuffs to the hard plastic, blah, blah, blah. We have seen an influx. No, that's they're coming with slab sleeves. Like that's not what they're talking about here. They made an announcement that they were gonna start making changes like 2 or 3
I think
months ago.
I think
No,
it talks about that somewhere. Yeah,
Nat said in
new
an
inner sleeve.
interview, he said that an inner sleeve was going to happen, like definitely in one of his podcast
Yeah.
interviews,
We
whatever.
are
with somebody.
also exploring new inner sleeve configurations to improve the presentation and minimize movement of the collectible within the PSA holder. The feedback from our community on this topic has made it its way into our planning and will be delivered soon. We have seen an influx of overall interest in trading cards and advancements that bring collectors virtually together While we remain physically distanced, we are in a whole new hobby in these ways. Throughout all the change, one thing that has remained constant is our community's support for PSA, such as PSA graded cards continue to lead the marketplace in activity and price. The inner sleeve does not minimize movement of the collectible. It doesn't look like it.
No.
I think what minimized the movement was the physical border that stopped it from moving. And oof, man, these look really bad. I forgot I was sharing, but yeah, yeesh. We'll see. We'll see. Those are on Probstein. There's more of them.
They remind me of, this is going to be the exact same thing that happened with the like grading booster packs. They're going to have this stupid case design for the longest time. People are going to get their cards graded, and then they're going to finally do like a perfect fit sleeve or just get rid of the whole sleeve. And they're going to come out with a new case that looks so much better. And people aren't going to want these weird cases at that point.
I'd be upset.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd be,
definitely.
if I had a first edition 8 Pidgeot, I'm gonna look up what that's going for. That's just,
I would not want something like that in my collection.
And see, like I'm where I'd be fine personally having like not my preference, but like if that becomes the new norm, I don't need my whole collection to match. So that part wouldn't drive me crazy. I'm more from like the seller's side. I've already got some two certs that don't have the lighthouse. They don't have the barcode and all that. And I know that there's some amount of buyers out there. They only buy 4 certs, or they only buy the old labels to match their old labels they have, or it just fragments it that much further and just drives. I hope CGC never changes their case. Just stick with the same case forever.
yeah. Now they changed their
exactly.
case. They changed their case once, and that was because the case they had, they weren't getting good enough welds on it. So they changed it up, and that was within a couple months, just because some of the welds weren't holding.
Yeah.
But yes, keep this case. It's amazing. I love it. But the 8s, wow, that's pretty affordable actually. A PSA 8 first edition Pidgeot is something for like $100. And like it kind of goes back to that Charmander we were looking at before, and it's like I would rather,
Yeah.
I mean,
Imagine buying an unlimited base that there's 10 million printed when you could buy like
yeah.
a pack fresh hollow. I've graded so many pack fresh jungle cards as 8s. Like that is a clean, nice card.
Yeah, the 9's going, first edition is going for $200, and it has a population of 519. And I had 4,000 plus kids that went to my high school. So if I take a eighth of the amount of students I went to high school with, and think about the entire rest of the world, like there is nothing. Like 519 is nothing. That's how I always picture it, because yes, the whole world is not collecting Pokemon, but you have to account for all of the people in the world that might want a PSA 9 or 10 Pidgeot, and think to yourself, I went to school with 8 times the amount that exists in the world.
I don't know if there's many people out there wanting a Pidgeot out of all things.
That's the best Pidgeot hollow artwork. That's one of my favorite Pidgeot cards above most else. But
Is there such a thing as a good Pidgeot artwork?
you're a Pidgeot hater? Oh,
There's only one PSA 1, so that's a pop 1 of a 22-year-old card.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, some 8s sold for $89, $70, $132. It's like, I don't know. I would be upset even if even at $100 card, I'd still be upset if that's how my card got presented. I'd be, even as a seller, because I know a buyer's not gonna like that.
Oh no, definitely.
Hopefully it's a prototype and this isn't a permanent change.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. It'll be interesting to see all the people that were so vocally against. This is hideous. This is the worst thing that's happened to the hobby in the history of forever. And then how will they respond to this PSA abomination? That'll be interesting to see.
Oh man. Hopefully out of all the things that have happened over the last year, hopefully that isn't a permanent one. Like I'm just
Yeah,
praying.
let's hope not.
I mean, there's no way. I don't even know how they made the decision to let that out the building, but
I'll have 5,000 of them coming back. I don't want them. Ugh.
Yeah, I'll give you $10 a piece for them.
Ugh. No, like I said, for me, it's not personally like if that's what it becomes, I'll still grade some amount of my cards with them. I'm sure things will kind of work out, but it'll be surprising if they go for that drastic of a change. But the sleeve is coming. We have heard that, so I'm just not looking forward to an additional variant. And some amount of people probably won't buy my new slabs because they hate that sleeve that much, and that I don't fully get.
I don't mind this. Go ahead.
People get way too obsessed with the grades and with the they're just getting so far away of like buying the card. I mean, they're buying the slab that it's in and the ink on the slab, and it's I don't know.
Go ahead.
Why didn't they just? I can get behind the idea of a sleeve, but why use like a penny sleeve, not a perfect fit sleeve or something like that, where
Yeah.
there's not so much extra space.
And that's not even a penny sleeve, is it? I mean, that is
No, that's a lot taller.
Yeah, that's a special. Oof.
Yeah, a penny
Weird.
sleeve only goes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, those are taller than penny sleeves, I think.
They look like it. And they look pretty wide too. But it's just.
It was definitely something that was just designed for sports cards and passed on to Pokemon.
The sleeve, I'd have to see it. I don't like binder sets. I really prefer not sleeving in a binder set. I will, obviously, if it's a valuable card. My favorite binder sets are the ones that I don't have to sleeve because they're just cheap. Usually my modern cards are. I don't know. Do you guys get weird about because I feel like it cuts off a lot of color in binder sets specifically.
I gotta have all mine sleeved.
I
don't like not having them sleeved.
I use the Ultra Pro clear deck sleeves, and I just do them backwards because they have that little sticker on them. But yeah, I have to have mine in sleeves. Even like the modern commons, my sets that I build of the modern sets, everything's sleeved.
Yeah, I know, and I sleeve a lot of stuff. It's more like, Weiss, like Weiss binders now. Really prefer, like, I will just pop those things, and I sleeve the hits. It's just like sleeves. Yeah, I don't know. I if we could live in a world where cards just didn't get damaged and we could just look at them just straight up. But I'm a picky person like that, I guess. I don't know, man. I don't know what they were thinking. That is ridiculous.
Somebody wasn't thinking that day.
That does not look good. I mean,
so that was my hot topic for the night. I don't know if you guys
that's a spicy one too. That's real hot. That's
got to go in the title.
You went.
It's gonna take them 6 hours to get to it, but
I was already thinking of like when you said that, I'm like, new PSA sleeve is definitely in the title for sure. You only get 100 characters, but those ones are going in there.
Even though it's like 3 hours in.
I'll have to do the timestamps, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Other than that, I'm trying to think. I feel like I had some ideas, but
I did a video a couple days ago. Anybody that doesn't know who I am, my channel name is Swammey. Skip the most recent video I made. It's just a joke video about Pokemon and Marvel. It'll piss you off. Just probably, so just skip it. Go to the one. I made that spreadsheet of the PSA 10s for like the first 30 sets.
very
And I
good
thought that
video.
was really interesting to watch as we went through January of 2020 to March of 2021. As time progressed and the first sets started to really inflate in price, the following sets started to inflate in price, and you could almost watch people like go further and further out away from base set, and just kind of watch the prices increase further and further down.
I like that video and I'm anxiously awaiting. I think you've promised to make a PSA 9 one, right?
I'll make a PSA 9 one. Yep.
Excellent.
I like
Yeah.
it. I like it.
Maybe instead of in the description, instead of linking to your YouTube landing page, I'll just link to that video directly so that they don't
Yeah.
accidentally go to your most recent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that video a lot. I really like that kind of data video with commentary on it and spreadsheet videos. My my viewership seems to have really liked some of my spreadsheet videos too. So I think linking them to that will do well.
Yeah, it's a lot of people do not like, and spreadsheets you got to like put in some color because it can get dry if you don't create the spreadsheet and know what someone's looking at or all the
I got to get better with that
intricacies.
too.
Yeah.
You can have nice colors in there. I like that.
Yeah. But it was really kind of interesting, and I'm hoping, because you see that a lot with comics, there's some comic books are going for millions of dollars, and their CGC 3 is going for 30 grand, because that's what that person could afford to get into that comic book. It might be a 3, but they'll never afford 2 million, and they want that book. It's a key book. They're willing to pay $30,000 for a low graded copy. It's kind of interesting to think that if Pokemon can keep growing, that already on a micro scale, we've kind of seen similarities between how the market reacts. And it's interesting to think about, because I looked at a lot of sets for years, like, oh, those will always be cheap. They're just there. And you watch the sets just kind of increase in value. And what was really interesting was that they all kind of like 5 and 6x'd. But it's kind of interesting to think like, oh wow, like there's probably going to be a day where I'll never afford a first edition base set 8 or above. That could be possible for base set. If you look at comic books and some of the populations of some of these first edition base set hollows, then yeah, it's a total possibility that gets out of like anything I'd ever be willing to pay. I've seen a lot of those cards before, but then there's going to be people that are going to drive those prices up if Pokemon can just keep it all going. We're going to have a come down off the craziness like every other hobby, sports, Marvel, comic books. But if Pokemon has legs, and I think it does over the next 10 to 20 years, it'll be kind of crazy to see where some of these things go. Even your full art Pikachus, I mean, yeah, like that's like some of that stuff is just, some of the cards in the hobby are so scarce, and to think, yeah, okay, they're obtainable right now. It's kind of scary to think what those things could be looking like, and you don't have to look very far. You can look at very similar hobbies. It's kind of scary. You're like, wow,
Yeah.
this could be completely just taken away from me over the next 10 years. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I am excited about this kind of settling out, though. It's nice not having to update pricing every single day.
yeah,
We're
Yeah.
still in it's such a weird place with modern, like allocations are still, I've been saying that I think within a year we'll get back to where the 4 to 6 most recent modern sets are just available to be bought from your distributor. But then like each passing week and month, I'm like, maybe not. I have no idea. Like
Well,
Who
maybe
knows?
I think that was one of our first podcast episodes, was talking about modern and how we thought towards the end of this year, beginning of next year, it would get back to a semi type of normalcy.
I'll have to flash back on that, because if I was saying a year then, I mean, we're 6 months in now. I think I might have been saying a year, 2 years then potentially, but the demand is just, it's astronomical. Evolving Skies, those boxes going for 160 right now.
That's crazy.
yeah, but
I
then
thought I was
I think
smart to sell all mine at release. Well, I guess not.
I think you get Evolving Skies for cheaper in 2022. You know, like I've been saying for a while now, unemployment checks, and you're hoping people on, getting these boosted unemployment checks aren't buying a ton of Pokemon cards, but stimmy checks, unemployment, I think student loans is a huge one, and it was supposed to end in October, and that got pushed to January. But that one for me is really big. I think 400, the average is about $400 a month for all student loans. I think millennials are a big portion of the Pokemon card collecting, and it affects, they're the most heavily indebted. And that's $400 a month is a lot of money, and it's tough to identify how many people buying Pokemon cards have 400 on average, right? But just a lot of money that is not going to be available, and then people, restaurants opening up, right? We were talking about going to a movie. It's $100. I could see you paying for a Charmander, but then again, you are going to go to a movie eventually, right? So there's one less Charmander. And then just getting past celebrations. I don't there's no way the hype can die until after that phase, wave 3, or you know what I mean, like wave 2. Everyone's gonna have to get their fill, and then I really do think we're just gonna kind of cool off. And a lot of questions you had tonight were hard. It's, very specific. What do you think? And it's like, well, when the prices do level out, you're not going to have to ask that question, because the card's going to be within 10% of its price for a period of 4 to 5 months, 6 months, maybe. And when you go to PokemonPrice.com and you trend that price chart and it looks almost identical to 6 months ago, you can feel pretty confident. And then you can buy it. And I'm excited too. I'm excited for that less anxious part of the hobby.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all I had for tonight.
Yeah, I think we're nearing 2 hours. I don't think we're there, but we're approaching, which we like to stay under.
Well,
Okay.
we wanted to stay around an hour when we first started this.
Yeah, I think our goal originally was always like 60 and sometimes out to 90, but now hour and a half to 2 hours is the norm.
Hey, it's somebody's gonna appreciate it.
Oh yeah, oh
I
yeah.
drive hour and a half every day, so
Oh, so we got to make him at least an hour and a half then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
No, thanks for coming on.
We appreciate you coming on, and definitely everyone go. I'll have Swammy's spreadsheet video linked. Definitely go check that out. Throw him some likes, throw him a sub, make some good content. Definitely one of my must watches when I see a new video drop.
Yes,
Except for my last one.
I listened
So,
to the whole thing. It was a quick one.
yeah, it was quick. It was quick. No, I'm just kidding. But
you're one of the few people I actually watch the videos. Normally I just listen, but you do a good job editing and stuff. So I'll actually watch your videos.
sweet. I
One
like
of
that. It's
my-
good to hear.
Unlike this guy over here.
Yeah, I'm I think we're all in different spots, but I'm in the top right on mine.
Oh, damn it.
Top left.
You pointed into nothingness. Swami, I loved your guru guide to guruing, whatever that one was. That was like
Oh man.
that's just good entertainment content. Like I'll never make a video like that because I'm not creative enough. That was just good, pure entertainment, like not really market commentary, anything like that, but good to mix it up with stuff like that. But
Thanks, man. Thanks.
yeah,
Yeah, I had fun with that one. That one was fun.
that was a
What a
fun watch.
ridiculous time with with the guru. What's his name? I can't even remember his name. Just guru. But yeah, that was a blast. It turned out pretty good too with the whole shack and the whole portal. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're just gonna have to go watch
Go
everybody.
watch
gonna
it, yeah.
have to check it out.
Oh,
But yeah, as always, feel free to leave a question in the comments below on either one of our channels, and we'll get that answered in the next podcast. And we appreciate you all joining. We will catch you later.
Have a good one.
see ya.